Welcome to this short analysis of Thomas Hardy's poem Drummer Hodge. So the poem is about a young soldier, a drummer boy, who dies in battle and is buried in a foreign land. In the 18th and 19th century, drummer boys were used to help relay orders by rhythmically hitting a drum during battle. They were often very, very young. And so in this poem, Hardy aims to kind of emphasise the tragedy and futility of war. He was a late Victorian writer who was deeply critical of war and empire. Most of his poems were all about similar themes. He wrote Drummer Hodge during the Second Boer War, which was fought between the British Empire and the Boer settlers in South Africa from 1899 to 1902. And many of the soldiers who fought in that battle were young farm boys from rural England. And so we have this fictional character here, Hodge, who Hardy basically uses to represent the common agricultural labourer. Structurally, the poem is an elegy, which is a type of poem that expresses sorrow for someone who's died. It's written in 3 sestets, so 6-line stanzas with a regular alternate rhyme scheme, like A-B, A-B rhyme scheme. And so that kind of steady rhythm gives us this somber quality, possibly reflecting that inevitability of death. If we look at some of the key quotations, you'll see that immediately it sort of sets us up with this violent imagery. They throw in Drummer Hodge, no rest, uncoffined. The act of throwing him, it seems casual, seems typical. There's no care being taken. And then you've got that euphemistic language of to rest, which creates an irony because actually, it completely juxtaposes the reality. Uncoffined, emphasizing his sort of loss of identity, and the fact that he will likely be forgotten. You get those Afrikaans words, kop je crest and veld, highlighting the isolation and displacement of the boy. Sort of he dies in this place that he has no real knowledge of, in this unmarked grave, and is so likely to be forgotten. You then see in the second stanza, Hardy places emphasis on his youth, calls him young, fresh from his Wessex home, shows us that war is futile, essentially. Young lives wasted, especially young lives that have no real understanding of war. Again, Hardy brings in these features of an unfamiliar land where he talks about the broad karoo, the bush, the dusty loam. Highlights the tragic nature of war. The boy will be forgotten, and actually he never really got to understand the place that he was in. If we look at the final stanza quickly, you can see that the conjunction yet sort of signals a slight shift in tone. I mean, it certainly ends on a somber note, but there is a sense of acceptance in this final stanza. His homely northern breast and brain grow up. You've got this metaphor which shows us that his body has almost returned to earth and will, nurture new life there. So there is this sense of acceptance, this sense of it almost, being, he's kind of accepted by this land. And then you'll see in all 3 stanzas, there's this celestial imagery, right? So foreign constellations in the first stanza, strange stars in the second, and then strange-eyed constellations reign his stars eternally. So it places emphasis on displacement, this idea of it being foreign, strange, an unknown world to him. Although in the final line, the stars are sort of now his. And so it allows some feeling of peace and emphasis on this idea of, nature's permanence. Although obviously it does still end in quite a, he's still in a place unknown to him.